the good, bad, and ugly of NASCAR's 2025 rule changes. NASCAR's 2025 rule changes have sparked a wave of discussion among fans, teams, and drivers alike. These new regulations could reshape the sport in significant ways, and there's a lot to unpack. The strict new policies on playoff waivers to controversial adjustments around star drivers and damaged vehicles, NASCAR's intent is clear: bring fairness and clarity to the track. But do these rules hit the mark? Let's dive into the good, the bad, and the ugly of these changes. The good, one of the most significant positives, is NASCAR's effort to add clarity to how certain scenarios are handled. In previous seasons, suspensions or missed races left room for interpretation regarding playoff eligibility. With the 2025 rules, NASCAR has established a firmer stance. For example, the updated waiver rules state that any driver who misses a race for non-medical or non-family emergency reasons will forfeit all playoff points earned during the regular season. This is a bold move. If a driver advances to the playoffs after missing a race, they'll start with the default 2,000 points and won't benefit from the bonus points they accumulated earlier. This change ensures that reckless actions, whether on or off the track, carry weighty consequences. NASCAR has essentially said, think twice before you act. For fans, this might mean cleaner racing and fewer instances of drivers taking each other out intentionally. Another intriguing rule aims to bring star power to NASCAR by allowing a 41st spot in select races for world-class drivers from other series. For instance, drivers like Helio Castroneves could enter marquee events like the Daytona 500, even if they don't qualify naturally. This rule not only broadens NASCAR's appeal, but also creates opportunities for thrilling crossovers between series. It's a move that could bring more global attention to the sport. Additionally, NASCAR's new damaged vehicle policy is a step forward. Teams can now work on cars in a designated garage area, reducing the risk of heavily damaged vehicles returning to the track and causing accidents. This change also takes some ambiguity out of the rules by eliminating scenarios where towing to the garage could end a driver's day unfairly. This rule also provides clarity for fans. In the past, seeing a car taken off the track left many spectators wondering if it would return. Now there's a defined process, and it's easier to understand what teams can and can't do to repair their vehicles. Transparency like this makes the sport more accessible, especially for newer fans who may find the rules confusing. The bad. While the intention behind the playoff waiver rule is understandable, its execution raises some concerns. For example, it could penalize drivers pursuing unique opportunities outside of NASCAR. Kyle Larson's planned Indy 500 attempt in 2025 comes to mind. If Larson can't return in time to start the Coca-Cola 600, he would lose all his playoff points, a significant blow to his championship hopes. This rule could discourage drivers from attempting ambitious, double-duty feats, which are exciting for fans and bring broader attention to the sport. NASCAR has an opportunity to embrace these moments and make them part of its identity. Instead, the current rules seem to create unnecessary roadblocks. For fans, this is frustrating. The idea of a driver attempting to compete in both the Indy 500 and Coca-Cola 600 on the same day is thrilling. It's a test of endurance, skill, and strategy. By creating barriers for drivers like Larson, NASCAR might be missing out on a golden opportunity to grow its audience and create a truly unforgettable spectacle. Additionally, while the 41st spot for international or world-class drivers is an exciting idea, it comes with caveats. If a team secures this spot but doesn't qualify naturally, they won't receive purse money. While this ensures fairness to other competitors, it might dissuade smaller teams from taking a chance on a star driver. Critics also argue that this rule wasn't a pressing issue for the sport. Was anyone really clamoring for it? Another concern is whether this rule cheapens the competition. Will fans feel that granting a free spot to a driver who didn't qualify undermines the integrity of the race? And will it create resentment among full-time drivers who have to fight for their place on the grid? These are questions NASCAR will need to address as the season unfolds. Kyle Larson's double attempt is now a complicated gamble. One of the most intriguing narratives surrounding the 2025 NASCAR season is Kyle Larson's attempt to complete the double, racing in both the Indianapolis 500 and the Coca-Cola 600 on the same day. This daring feat requires not only immense skill and stamina, but also flawless logistics. Only a handful of drivers in history have attempted it, with Tony Stewart being the most successful, finishing 6th at Indy and 3rd in Charlotte on the same day back in 2001. For Larson, this isn't just about making history, it's a personal challenge to prove his versatility and etch his name alongside the all-time greats. Fans are already buzzing with excitement over the prospect of seeing a NASCAR star compete on such a grand stage after his debut in 2024, especially considering Larson's reputation as one of the most talented and fearless drivers of his generation. However, NASCAR's updated waiver rules could put a damper on his plans. Under the new regulations, if Larson fails to return in time to start the Coca-Cola 600, he will forfeit all his playoff points earned during the regular season. This is a massive penalty for a driver chasing a championship, as those playoff points are critical for advancing through the postseason rounds. The logistics of pulling off the double are already daunting. Larson would need to qualify for the Indy 500, race 500 miles at Indianapolis, and then immediately fly to Charlotte in a private jet to compete in NASCAR's longest race of the year. Any delay, whether it's weather, mechanical issues, or even unforeseen complications during the Indy 500, could derail his ability to make it back in time. This rule not only adds pressure to Larson's already monumental task, but also raises questions about NASCAR's approach to its drivers pursuing opportunities outside the series. Instead of celebrating Larson's attempt as a potential boost for the sport's visibility and appeal, the waiver policy feels like a deterrent. From a fan's perspective, this is disappointing. The idea of watching a driver like Larson compete in 2 of motorsport's most iconic events in a single day is thrilling. It's a rare spectacle that transcends NASCAR and attracts global attention. Imagine the headlines: Kyle Larson completes the double. It's the kind of story that could captivate both die-hard fans and casual viewers, potentially drawing new audiences to NASCAR. Critics argue that NASCAR should embrace this moment rather than penalize it. Allowing Larson to pursue the double without fear of losing playoff points could showcase the sport's willingness to celebrate its drivers as global competitors. It's a chance to show the world that NASCAR drivers are among the best in motorsports, capable of competing on any stage. Furthermore, Larson's attempt aligns with the spirit of racing, pushing boundaries, testing limits, and chasing greatness. By imposing harsh penalties for missing a race, NASCAR risks stifling the very qualities that make its drivers extraordinary. On the flip side, NASCAR's decision to enforce these rules equally across all drivers reflects its commitment to fairness. Waivers are meant to be exceptions, not guarantees, and the organization likely wants to avoid setting a precedent where drivers can skip races without consequences. Still, many fans and experts feel that Larson's attempt deserves special consideration. The double isn't just about one driver's ambition. It's an opportunity for NASCAR to capture the spotlight and share in the glory of a truly historic achievement. The ugly. As with any major rule change, unintended consequences are always a possibility. The playoff waiver rule, for example, could lead to altered racing strategies. A driver who qualifies for the playoffs after serving a suspension might race more aggressively, knowing they have no playoff points to lose. This could create tension on the track rather than the intended deterrence. The damaged vehicle policy, while well-meaning, could also backfire. Will teams find ways to exploit the new garage area repair rules? And could this lead to more damaged cars returning to the track, potentially causing chaos? NASCAR must carefully monitor these situations to ensure the rules have their desired effect. Another potential issue lies with the 41st spot rule. While it's exciting to see a star driver like Helio Castroneves or an international talent take part in NASCAR, this rule could create logistical headaches. Imagine a situation where multiple world-class drivers want to compete in the same race. How will NASCAR decide who gets the spot? And what happens if a full-time NASCAR driver feels overshadowed by the attention given to a guest competitor? To NASCAR's credit, these changes show a willingness to evolve and adapt. The sport is constantly looking for ways to improve, and that's a good thing. But with every change comes risk. It's up to NASCAR to ensure that these new rules enhance the sport rather than detract from it. What's next? As the 2025 season approaches, all eyes will be on how these rules play out. Will the stricter playoff waiver policy lead to cleaner racing? Will the 41st spot rule bring in exciting new talent, or will it cause controversy? And will the damaged vehicle policy make the sport safer, or will it create new challenges for teams and officials? One thing is certain, NASCAR fans are in for an exciting year. These rule changes have the potential to shake things up in ways we've never seen before. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing depends on your perspective. Are these changes a step in the right direction, or are they missing the mark? Will they lead to better racing, or could they create more controversy? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our